Macho time.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Hector Camacho Jr.
Macho time.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on my show. Get started, man. Your father was an absolute legend. I want to tell you sincere condolences to you and your family for the loss of your father.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. You know, he touched a lot of lives, you know. And what he left behind was a beautiful thing. It's still macho time. I appreciate that, brother. Appreciate
always. So, do you want to tell the people where you were born and raised?
Well, from Spanish Harlem, New York City. I was raised in New York. My actually career didn't take off. So I moved to Orlando, Florida, about 14 years old. I went to high school. But then through my pro career, I moved off to Puerto Rico, and that's how I ended my career.
Yeah.
So a little back and forth, you know, the blessings of boxing that you travel, you enjoy life, and, you know, get ready for this, what you call war boxing fight. So, yeah, I've been blessed moving around.
When you were born, right, you were born into this celebrity lifestyle. Your father was pretty big in the world of boxing, and he had a lot of people around him. So what was it like to be born into that lifestyle?
You know what? Looking back at it, man, it was quite unique, you know? I remember growing up, man, and just being raised, and I was at, you know, people out of nowhere just pointing, let's come out your son. Can I take a picture? I remember that kind of attention early in my life, which it was cool, but it wasn't cool, you know, to a certain extent. But yeah, it was different. It was different.
Do you ever remember any times where anyone approached you and your father kind of spazzed out on him or anything like that?
I seen him spaz out a bunch of times. But as far as towards him, no. When I used to get picked up every time when he's not around, it was those type of elements. But no.
So was it constant travel and things like that for you?
You know, growing up, it was a mix. You know, I was from Spanish Harlem. You know, I was for me, it was a different world because, you know, I get pointed down. I was young coming up, but I was still in the hood. My father, like the superhero, I come around when he's around. It was love and joy. Then he take off. I'll see him on TV. So it was one of those type of situations. It wasn't regular dad that would stay at home. At that time, my father and mother separated. My father always be around. Yeah. So it's one of those type of relationships with growing up. And it was rough because it come to a time you had to get bullied, you had to get forced to fight. Or you come out your son, you can't fight. So that's a lot of people not know who I was, you know? And it was like that for a little bit until 1985 when my father fought Rosario, Madison Square Garden. I was about 8 years old. I went inside the ring. I was about like 10. I went inside the ring and did a flurry. My father picked me up, and the Madison Square Garden went crazy. That from that I went back to school, I was just I was a celebrity. It was cool, but it wasn't cool. You know, I get picked on. It was a different lifestyle, man. You know, it was very different. People might think it was gold, but no, it wasn't. I mean, I just see my father on TV. They tell me that's your father. So why you living here in the projects? That ain't your father. You know, it was one of those type of, you know, growing up situation. Yeah, that's my father's money. That's what he was doing. You know, that's what kind of relationship it was to a certain age.
Do you have any resentment for your father for not taking you out of that environment?
When I was young, I grew up with that. It got to a point where we moved out of where we lived at 112 2nd Avenue. We moved to basically the west side, Madison Avenue. And we moved to that building. My mother told me, you didn't tell nobody who your father is. Tell your name is Louis Hector. Don't say your name is Hector. And we kept that front for about 3 years until people started knowing who I was. And that was cool. But during those 3 years, I had resentment. You know, cause shit, my father, a big fight. I didn't understand. As I got older, our relationship grew. As I became a fighter. When I moved
Yeah.
to Orlando, Florida, when we finished school in New York, my father fought Chavez. That's one of his biggest fights. So he gave me, my family gifted us with, with the house. We moved to Florida. When we was in Florida,
Well,
we started growing together. Got started boxing. So it wasn't like New York City. When you was in New York, we had different leagues, basketball league, baseball leagues. I didn't want to become a boxer. I like the pelota. I want to become Pepeto Clemente. I love baseball. And to keep
yeah,
me out of
yeah,
trouble, that was Camacho's son. My family kept me in the boys' club, kept me off the streets. So I was good at sports. I never had no idea of becoming a boxer until I moved to Orlando, Florida. And my mother said, "Son, you can't come out of school and stay home and do nothing." She forced me to go into boxing. So I started boxing in 1994, amateur. I did an amateur record of 59 wins, 2 losses. I was the #1 fighter in the nation, the whole United States, going to Olympic trials. And during those eras, that's when me and my father sort of clicked. I thought, had an image who I wanted to be. Started going to his boxing camps and being together. We had something in common. So it became more of a son, father, brother type of love. My father's still young. He had me at the age
yeah.
of 15 years old. So it's a young difference.
When
That's what boxing came along. But yeah, my father, the love we have for each other, man. Like, to this day, sometimes I just think about the good. But I have to, go back and think about the horrors, of what
yeah,
happened, and but the legacy left behind for everybody. I'm thankful to the people. To this day, anywhere I go to this day, somebody will stop me. Oh, I want to cry on me to my father. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the
yeah.
love. It's only different, but I appreciate the love, man.
When I was researching your family history and everything, I was like inspired by the story. It was like very heartwarming story. And then at the end, for a tragedy to happen, it was like, damn, like it's like, why did it have to end like that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. When it comes down to those type of situations, man, it's the environment. I remember, like, I was with my father like 3 months prior to the incident. And I was there training with him. I just couldn't take it no more, man. He was out of control. It got to the point I couldn't take it. So we left training camp. My wife was pregnant at that time. We was expecting my second child, my baby. So we left. I remember me telling him, "Pops, man, be careful out here, man. These young boys don't care. They don't they don't know who you are. They bugging. We can Puerto Rico talk." I remember just the lifestyle that comes along with the territory of the lifestyle he lived.
Yeah.
He was a people person. He was out there. That never left him.
Yeah, he wanted to be around people. I remember watching the interview with him. He's in the ring and he just said, "I just want a friend. Like, I just want somebody there for me." And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, man, he's got all these people around him and he just wants a friend instead of people asking for handouts and all these people around that are wanting something from him, you know?
People won't understand that when you're on that side of the fence. People will never understand that. They wouldn't
Yeah.
comprehend the meaning of that. Of course, it looks good on the other side of the fence, gold, but a lot comes along with that territory.
Yeah.
Um, he lived his life. It was macho time. He lived his life to the fullest, and that we can't take away from him. Young. He accomplished his goal. His mission was to become a world champion, take his mother out the projects. That was his mission. He loved his mama. Um, Came out of nothing, no schooling, on the streets, went barrio, survived, had a dream, accomplished it. A lot of hard work into that. He was different. He
Yeah.
was special.
Definitely, man. Do you remember your
I thought
first
you.
fight,
Uh-huh.
first professional fight?
Oh hell yeah! I remember it. Yeah, yeah. My first fight was on my father's show. I fought on USA Boxing TV, USA Network, Tuesday night fights. My father was the main event. I was a co-main event. So before the fight, my father's talking that shit to me. He telling me, "But you better win." My people watching. You put that pressure on me. I remember we were going to the ring. I got the victory. In the first fight, I caught a headbutt, but I fought a fighter called Lou Martinez. He had like 13 fights. I believe he was 8-5, if I'm not mistaken. On my first debut, and I won 4 rounds that decision on TV. So I definitely remember that. Yeah.
After you win, what was your father's reaction after you get out of the ring and everything?
The respect. But leading up to that time, as an amateur boxing, my way to Olympics, there were times my father would call me up. Hey, I got a friend out here in Miami, Chico. His name was Chico. He got a boxing show. How much you weigh? I'm like 140. Come down, I got your fight. He just test me. He's a test me. That's a pass no testers. But he knew what it was. But after my first pro debut, he congratulated me, and and we kept on.
And when he congratulated you, did you feel that connection with him? Like, yeah,
Oh hell yeah,
we're here.
hell
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pure. It was pure. We formed the same show. I think 3 times in our career. My goal coming up was never to become 4-time world champion, not even 1-time world champion. My goal in boxing was to be known for me, Hector Camacho Jr. From young, I get by this, please. From young, I used to get pointed at. Oh, that's Camacho's son. Now that's Hector. That's Hector Jr. His father, Hector Camacho. It was always that's Camacho's son. So I always wanted to prove that I'm me, and that was my goal in boxing. And like I said, we fought 3 times on the same show. But my 3-time world championship came, my father fought on my undercard on HBO KO Nation. I was mainly there. My father fought on my show, and my uncle fought. So definitely that was my goal in boxing, for my son. I feel like I accomplished that in boxing. Boxing is a beautiful sport, but it's an ugly business. Terrible business, dirty business.
Yeah.
As you know, like 90% of fighters retire broke, no matter how much money you make in boxing, just so happen about most of the chunks make, retire with no money.